Happy day after Liar's Day, everybody. My name is Dylan, and I am coming to you live from the Codename Entertainment streaming closet located in the rainstorm formerly known as Victoria, BC, Canada. Although maybe it's eased up a bit. It was pretty awful earlier. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Dungeons & Dragons for hosting us. And two things basically are going on today. First, I will be making an probably ill-fated attempt at Azaka's Procession Part 2 using the gamepad UI to just see how far I can get. It's been a few months since the content came out, and I tore through it that weekend, but not without a lot of potions leveling and some good weekend buffs, so we'll see how I can do, given that I don't have those things this time. And that, although there have been Helm's Blessings and other blessings, and I'm pretty sure we actually had a level cap increase in that time as well. Anyways, so I'll be doing that. And then we will also have a Q&A with our live services manager, Chris Dupuy, a.k.a. Game Guru Chris, a.k.a. hashtag Blame Chris, who will be coming on in about an hour to take questions. You can feel free to ask him anything about the game. Although if you have questions related to the tanking and healing stuff that we talked about last week, Chris won't probably have the answers for that because Justin's been playing that one pretty close to the chest. He's been the one who's been doing a lot of the testing and iteration on that. So yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. There is not a chess code posted yet because there's enough information on the screen when there's a background, but I'll switch over in a second. Be patient, please. Yes, lots of things going on. Oh, geez, everybody's only talking about the chess code. Relax. Relax. There will be one. And for those of you who managed to tune into Amy Falcone's impromptu stream earlier today, there was a chess code for that one too. So tune into the, well, actually just head to the official Discord and it'll be posted there. So I'm going to switch over to the solo view so y'all can get your code, and whoever can post it to the Discord first. In the meantime, welcome to the stream, Twitch Mithril, Garwar, Ted Faster, Jopist, The One Hypnotic, and of course, Obo Crazy, Lauren Urban, Candyman. Welcome. So this is my, oh, close that. This is my gamepad UI. And funny enough, we will be having a newer version for testing at some point because I have seen an updated version from the one that's currently live on Steam, and it is beautiful, much improved. Adam, Jacob, and Peter have been working really hard on it. And so, yeah, if you like the look of this one, it does get better. Meanwhile, I kind of set familiars to level everybody up, so I don't really have a lot to be doing for this. It's funny because in order to play this variant again, I went in and flagged the adventure as incomplete for me, but I do still have Azaka because I've already done this and I've already geared her up. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But anyways, I'm not going to cheat and use her to get through this. But yeah, this is my Farida single DPS formation, using tieflings and seeing if I can stack her DPS up higher than I can Strix, which I think I can. Not using Barrowan or anything, just going to let this roll. Area 167. I don't anticipate it slowing down much before 250-ish. We will see. I imagine the Stone Juggernaut will probably wipe me when I get to it at a higher level, but, well, we'll just have to wait and see how that plays. So, what's new? Lots is new, actually. Manual turret, how do you flag your adventures as incomplete? You go into the back end and do that to your count like everybody can't do. This was just because players had requested that I try Azaka's Procession Part 2 again, so I went in and set it up so that I could try. And I know we talk a lot about Twitch, and but I need to make a point of also welcoming any Steam viewers we have right now. If there's anybody currently in the Codename Entertainment Steam watching us. Welcome. Now there is a stream code that is basically a Steam only version of the game code in the top left corner of your screen that expires a week from today at 1 p.m. so just before the next stream would start. That's only valid on Steam versions of the game right now. It's unfortunately not currently available on the iPad or tablet for Android, but I can say that I do know the team is working on a fix around that, but we have a technical stuff to go through that also has legal stuff to avoid. So, you know, working on it. It's not an easy switch to turn on and off, unfortunately, but it will happen. In the meantime, when we do giveaways during the stream, tune in to twitch.tv/DND because we have no way of currently managing giveaways through Steam right now. So, not to make you ditch Steam, but Twitch is currently the better chat to be in. Plus, all the cool people are here. Baron Stromgard is here. Valentine, Computer Ninja, Erdspark, Giant Dwarf. They're all here. You should talk to them. They're pretty awesome. This is a gamepad UI, Computer Ninja. And because I have a knockoff Xbox 360 controller that doesn't even have the little X on the icon because somebody took my actual Xbox 360 controller and swapped it out with this piece of junk. That's why the buttons are showing the buttons that they show. I think at some point we will update it to show other gamepad buttons, but I'm not quite clear on those plans, so we shall see. In the meantime, if you have any questions, or actually if you have questions for Chris, like design or technical related stuff, or you're wondering why an Evergreen champion that was originally scheduled to come out at the end of this year is now being pushed back into next year, wait and spam Chris with that stuff. Yeah, that's right, Chris. I'm throwing you under the bus. But seriously, Chris will be coming to the stream soon. In the meantime, I am just playing this and talking to myself and drinking a brandless drink. Shame, Chris. Yeah. Do I pretend like I'm hip firing a long iron? No, I don't do that. I actually really like. In some ways, I like the gamepad UI a lot more than the mouse and keyboard one that we have set up. Just because you can do things like, I mean, I have familiars doing the leveling right now, but like you can just press and hold down the leveling button and it'll just go off like a machine gun and level your character all the way up. Here, I'll swap over to Archon to show that off. I'm not going to unlock Azaka during this. That would be paradoxical. But yeah, just like recruiting. Oh, skipping the dialogue then. Recruiting and then like leveling up. It's so fast. It's probably my favorite thing about the gamepad UI. You can machine gun off levels. Like, oh, you want Ishii? It's like recruiting Ishii and then blop. Just I'm not actually going to use Ishii in this adventure right now, but yeah. It's like, oh, maxed out. That's so fast. I know David mentioned that was a feature that we were looking at incorporating into the actual UI for the game, but we just haven't gotten to it yet. And part of that's because David and Justin and Eric are all at BlizzCon right now with their wives. Well, Justin and Eric brought their wives. I don't know if Dave brought his girlfriend. But anyways, they go to BlizzCon on a sort of nerd pilgrimage every year. They spend like a couple days in Disneyland, and then they go to BlizzCon all weekend, and then they come back from the event all happy and covered in swag and making us jealous. So that's what they are doing right now. Let's see. I have some questions here that Erica has posted into the chat document. Let's see. Neexist1. Neexist? Neexist1? Neexist? Is there a way in the gamepad UI you can make it to show how much percentage of favor is earned on an adventure? So I don't think we have that in this version, but in the updated version that will be coming at some point, the top left corner of the screen where you can see the coin and the little sword talking about party DPS and how much gold you have gets changed to having a gold DPS and a favor icons instead, and like tracks that. But like right now we don't really have it, and like so the only way to see how much favor has been earned this adventure right now would be to complete the adventure, which I don't want to do because it takes so long to get back here. I don't even know if I'm going to get to 300 during the stream. I mean, I might, but I actually I had this on earlier this morning when I first got to Codename just to try and make sure that I had the adventure at the right point for the stream. And then I had a glitch with Adobe Creative Suite. And I was like, well, it's been a long time since I reset my computer. So I reset my computer and forgot to turn the game back on. So I'm a little bit further behind than I was expecting. I was hoping to be in the 200s by now. So we'll see. We'll see if I get there. Anyways, yeah, not yet, Neexist. Attilian. Hey, Chris and Dylan, is Strix Haunted going to get a bonus for Azaka? So that's a question that came up actually during the Q&A yesterday. And I checked with Mark, and basically what happens right now is NPCs in your formation are not counted as like allies in your formation, and so the corpse of Azaka doesn't count as having a dead ally in your formation for Strix's haunted buff that would increase your party DPS. And I don't know if we're going to change that because we haven't counted it that way either. Like you don't technically have Azaka as like an ally, like part of your party until after you've completed this adventure. So I don't know if that's something that's going to change, but it's also something that we hadn't really thought of before the question came up yesterday. So possibly. Why not swap Deacon and Calliope? I can't remember which one of them actually hits harder, but otherwise, like buff-wise, it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, if it's a Farida formation, but like Kwani, I'll tell you what, I'll indulge you. I'll swap them, and if my DPS number goes green, which maybe it will, then they'll stay that way. Ooh, red. Yep. Also, because Mako's buff doesn't extend yeah, I think just Calliope hits harder, so technically it's the tiniest bit better. And also, I don't have I have Deacon set to. Oh, that's what it is. I see what you're saying. Yeah, what I could do is I could set it to party. I could change Deacon's specialization. Sorry, I'm using the wrong specialization right now. You are correct. I've never tried to use a potion of specialization in this UI. Let's see what happens. Use. Yes. And Epic Tail Little Kobold. And then moving. Whoops. Calliope over will be huge. Right. Okay, now it's awesome. All right. You were correct. I'm just going to highlight Farida since Farida's my DPS, just in case people are curious when they tune in. Okay. There's currently a raffle going on right now. I can't remember what it's for. Let me just double check. Let's see. Oh, a Chewinga Familiar DLC pack. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, preemptive congratulations to those who may get that. Let's see. Like Gray Skies. I saw somebody in chat. The Raffle spam was going by. But I saw somebody in chat asking about getting a way to unlock Strix. The best... So there's a bunch of ways to do that. You can wait until Strix's event comes around again, which is actually a few months away. That'd be the Festival of Fools, which I think is like end of March. You can unlock her through a time gate if you get that opportunity. If you have some extra money, you can unlock her through the in-game shop when she shows up, and buy chests and still get the golden epics, etc. And then also, if you cross paths with Holly Conrad at an event, like I don't mean like in person or randomly in the street or like looking for her wherever she lives or anything like that, because that'd be weird. But if you see her at a con where she's dressed as Strix, she also tends to have Strix codes to give away. So those are the ways in which you can unlock Strix. Yeah. Like Gray Skies. Dylan, which character in Idle Champions thus far is your least favorite? My personal least favorite champion. There's a couple ways I can go at that. I can go at that in terms of champions that I just never use or consider using and feel like a missed opportunity. And I could also just go with my like personal least favorite character. I'm not a huge fan of the Companions of the Hall, to be honest. I always thought that Dritz was a bit emo and they were kind of just overhyped. But, I mean, they're good characters. Let's see. I mean, if we're going in terms of usefulness, then there's an elf. Actually, there's two characters that swap in the slot with Hitch, both of whom I don't like. Actually, yeah, Narak is probably my least favorite one, even more so than Delana. Yeah, because I like Gith and Githyanki and Githzerai, and Narak just kind of doesn't work right. I mean, he'll get a rework either as part of the champion balance update or by the time his event comes around again. But yeah, Baron Stromgard, which champions will be blessed with a weekend buffet this upcoming weekend? I believe it is a Stokey focused weekend. which is to say that Stokey will be getting buffed, but I can't remember who else it is. Yeah. Let me just, you know what? I'll tell you what, I'll check. Who is coming up? Wait, no, wrong document. No, this one. This is the one I need to look at. Okay, let's see. Stokey, Calliope, Minsk, Hitch, and Tyrrell. Oh, 3 members of Force Grey. That's a lot of buffs, actually. Moonbeam, Friendly, Favorite Enemy, Bardic Inspiration. Yeah, people who are looking to do deep runs in something will have some great buffs this weekend. Those are very viable buffs that will help a lot. So, yeah. Cool. All right, what's next? Would like to point out that it was super cool that you guys announced that Amy T. Falcone from the C Team was playing and came into chat to give away codes. Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because, like, it's not always easy to know when people that you like or people that you hope to work with or do work with, whatever. Like, we have ties to so many streamers that, like, it can be easy during our day-to-day to get lost in the shuffle. Luckily, we did notice. We went in and we were just like, we were very happy to see that she was playing. Loved that she had just unlocked Donar and was playing through. And so Chris was on it. He was Johnny on the spot. I tweeted. Chris went in to give away codes, and Erica, I think, set up a notification in game to let people know. So it was a team effort. And yeah, we were just happy that Amy was having a good time, and that, yeah, Amy's awesome. Let's see, Blue Heaven 42. Are you still planning on implementing the shift click to deploy familiars? Seems like this was a while ago this was talked about, and it's still not in. Well, it wasn't a promise. It was something that we acknowledged was a good idea. But the funny thing about quality of life updates is that there almost needs to be a unique confluence of things behind the scenes in order for them to happen a lot of the time, because it needs to be a combination of, like, developers having enough free cycles to implement them, and there not being another project that is more of a high priority, which there to date pretty much always has been. So we're really focused on tanking and healing right now, and, like, it's getting a lot of our attention. So quality of life related things just kind of get put to the side. That isn't to say that we don't want to implement more quality of life ideas, because there's tons of things that we want to do, and the most pressing of which are probably the ones related to mass opening and purchasing chests, and we just haven't gotten to it. But yeah, Blue Heaven. I mean, shift clicking to deploy familiars. I think it's less likely that one will happen, and much more likely that saving familiars into formations will happen sooner, which might help you out. I don't know. Dan Goodchild, is there a way to access my champion's inventory and or shop from the campaign map screen between adventures? If not, is that something you might look at? So it isn't currently available, and it's something we're considering, but that we haven't done. A lot of the information that shows up in that screen is only relevant when an adventure is running. So if an adventure isn't running, pulling it up would, like, a huge amount of the interface would be either not showing up correctly or just wasted. So, I hear what you're saying, Dan Goodchild, and it's a big maybe from us. Yeah. Alphonse Broom, can we stack huge potions? No, they don't stack. What happens is if you use, I'm pretty sure we set it up so that you couldn't use 2 back to back, but if we didn't get to that, I could have sworn it was on our to-do list. I haven't tried to do that in forever, and I'd test it right now, but I'm not using potions on this run just to see how far my party can idle. But yeah, you can't stack huge potions. They last until the end of the adventure anyway, so there wouldn't be purpose. But if you could stack them on top of each other, you just break the game. You just add too many epic DPS potions or something, and create some massive, exponentially powerful buff to your party DPS and go much further than you should be able to. So it cannot currently happen. Scratty Bones, as a Canada-based company, how often does the Spirit of the West's Home for a Rest get played in the office? I can't verify whether or not it ever does, because this is an extremely quiet office in which pretty much everybody is wearing headphones all the time and everybody's just getting their work done. So I don't know. It could be that people are playing it all the time and I just don't know. I've been listening to a lot of what do you call it? like chiptune and new wave type stuff this week for some reason. Bill VR, can emo Dritz be a costume option? I'm not going to say no, but I could say that emo Dritz is not the next skin, costume, what have you option coming to the game. Eisen21. When are you going to update the Steam, aka PC interface, to look nice on, like on stream? So there's a great big lot of stuff to go with that. So we are really happy with how this gamepad UI is coming together. I mean, it's really beautiful. It uses these hand-drawn portraits that Adam and Alexis spent a crazy amount of time doing, especially since we weren't creating them right from the get-go with the game. So they had to go back and do an extra 29 or 30 of them while also trying to adding them to the regular work for putting together a champion. It took us months and months to get to the point where the gamepad UI is what you see on my screen right now on this stream. The next iteration of this that they're still tweaking right now, but that I've seen at least one working build of, is another significant improvement. Again, it is clearly superior to this one. It's beautiful, but it also took it's weeks of work. It's the only thing that I think that Jacob is even working on right now. So it takes a lot of time. Now we fully acknowledge that the keyboard and mouse UI needs the same amount of love. But I don't have an ETA for when that's going to get done, because we know that it needs to get done, but it's the focus is on finishing this one and making it as functional as possible first, and before going back to the other one. So I don't have an ETA for it, but we would like to. All right. Any setup recommendations for getting the Stokey stuns, like her and one other champion or something? If you're targeting a specific champion achievement, I find a lot of the time the best thing to do is to set up your game so that you have a formation with only them in it, to try and make sure that you can complete whatever it is. So sometimes that means just pushing to your wall and then swapping out everybody but that champion, and then letting it knock them back to a point, and then just leaving it overnight, maybe with a speed potion going. That would be my suggestion. Follow up on the least favorite. What about your most favorite characters, both from gameplay and lore? Okay, that's tough. That's really tough. It's really hard not to have a strong attachment to the characters from streams, because you've seen them played, and you learn to just love their shows, and you love those people, and I have a huge attachments to the characters from Dice Camera Action because of that, because I think the show is awesome and they do a fantastic job. Now, as for a favorite, I don't know. I mean, Ishii might be the favorite. I know I'm not using them right now, but they are an amazing addition to your formation. They totally kick ass. Stokey also is awesome. I'm not as happy with Jarlaxle these days, but if you're just starting out, Jarlaxle's Gold Find it's invaluable to you getting into the swing of things. So Ishii might be the favorite. Or a Birdsong. Love Birdsong, and Alexis did such an amazing job of animating and putting Birdsong together. Birdsong just looks awesome. So, hope that answers it. Lore perspective, Frida, because Aaron M. Evans is a treasure and totally created an amazing character. Can I whistle in 5/4 time? I am not musical in any way, so I'm not sure what that means. Eval Mind. Utkarsh did do a great job of Hitch, Lauren. I agree. I just, I don't like Hitch in our game because there's no buffing alternative to him in that slot, so he feels forced, you always have to have him. I have him in my formation right now. But Utkarsh did a great job of portraying him. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for adding in Ravenloft to the game. I love it. Kudos to Chris for that one. I mean, don't get me wrong. Curse of Strahd is a favorite campaign in Office, and some of us have been like, "Do Curse of Strahd," since we started, and so we weren't going to add another permanent campaign for it because we already had Grand Tour of the Sword Coast and we already had Tomb of Annihilation, and we knew that we were going to be putting Waterdeep Dragon Heist into the game. We just hadn't got there yet. So, you know, and then next year, presumably, I don't know what the book will be yet, but, you know, presumably we will add another permanent campaign with that one. And so it's like finding room to put in Curse of Strahd was not looking like something that would happen. But Chris knew we wanted to do it and wrote it into the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast. So it's there. And so we are stoked to be going through that campaign. Love it. Dan Goodchild, what is the meaning of Evelyn's ever-changing halo? It indicates which upgrades of her channel divinity are active. So the more spikes that are there, the better. That's really it. So that's why when you first unlock her, it's incomplete, and then as you level her up, it fills out, and then like they light up depending on which ones are active. It's just that's what it is. I will concede that some of our buff identifiers are not always intuitive. But yeah, that's what it signifies, which of her buffs are active. Is it possible at some point to get a bestiary out of the game? I love to be able to look at the enemies I've encountered. We've talked about this, and I mean, it would be a pretty monumental undertaking, and it's like there's no shortage of monsters in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like, you know, between the monster manual, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, Volo's Guide to Monsters, you know, there's so much stuff. And then, you know, there's also additional monsters and stat blocks in pretty much every other book somewhere. So, yeah, it would be a lot to have a bestiary that included everything in it. I know it would probably be helpful to players, but it'd be a pretty big feature. So, I don't know. I mean, I'll bring the feedback to the team like I usually do with that one. Well, I mean, I always do with that one, but I'm not personally all that optimistic that it's something that'll happen. When in doubt, I mean, you can mouse over enemies to know what types they are, but yeah, the best way to look at them. Oh, that's an interesting question, Cobra. Sorry, I got distracted by that question. Cobra King of Fear, is Hitch's skin supposed to be black, as in brackets African? I am legit colorblind and it looks kind of green on my screen. Hitch, so Hitch is actually on the cover of the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide, where he is depicted as being Caucasian. But Wizards has since updated his art, following Utkarsh portraying Hitch on 2 seasons of Force Grey. Was it 2 seasons of Force Grey? I think he was in both. Anyways, I could have sworn he was in both. Anyways, so they updated the aesthetic to be closer to Utkarsh's skin tone, so he's brown, basically. Hitch is brown. What is your favorite Halloween candy? Or if you already answered that, what is your opinion on candy corn? Not a fan of candy corn. What is my favorite Halloween candy? It's funny because I'd say that I don't like candy, but I do have a sweet tooth. I like chocolate. You know, who doesn't? Let's see. When are Birdsong and Ashara getting their affiliations updated? You know, that's a good question. I have no idea. I don't recall that particular thing being on any of our to-do lists. So what's interesting about affiliations is that like the character background screens are just incomplete, right? Like I'm using the gamepad version of the UI, but like if you go into it, it has a fair amount of information now. You know, it's got a bio at the bottom, and like it's got, you know, this version of the interface has room for more. But yeah, it's you know, there are characters that don't have everything listed that in theory they should. Now, one thing that we worry about with that is that there are characters that are affiliated with more than one organization, right? Like people who follow Acquisitions Incorporated now know that Strix is a bee stinger, right? Strix is heavily associated with not just the main Acquisitions Incorporated, the A team, if you will, but also associated with the C team, and then is, you know, obviously an important part of the Waffle Crew. So it's like, which affiliations do we put on there? Do we put all 3 in? So I don't know that we're going to be hugely sticking to all of that. A lot of the time what we do is, because the characters that we get a version of them. Like, we get a stat sheet that's provided to us. Like, you know, just as an example, like the Dritz that we have is a version of Dritz that, yeah, he's a Mako swap. He's a version of Dritz that is apparently 75 years old. But like, look at his stats. Like, considering what Dritz has accomplished over the course of however many novels at this point that Bob Salvatore has put out, this is not Dritz's final incarnation. And also, you could make arguments about his alignment, depending on which version of him you're looking at too. So, oh, excuse me. You know, we tend to have our characters tend to be a snapshot of them at a particular time. And so they, you know, there are gonna be some inconsistencies. So the reason I brought that up is because what we're considering doing to address all of this is having citations in the character biographies to say where we got this version from, which will help hopefully give better context to why their stats are one way or another. Because yeah, I mean, there's multiple versions of some of them, and you know, they've been involved with different groups. So just to kind of give a little bit more clarity that way, because I know there are some players who are well versed in the lore of the Forgotten Realms who know that, like, okay, some of these characters are not accurate for what they're like right now because they're missing X, Y, and Z. So, you know, it's something that we're gonna work on. Ship caption. Where is Ishii from? Is she from a streamer, a book, a comic, etc.? So Ishii Snaggletooth was created for Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation, which is DM'd by Adam Coble on Fridays on the D&D Twitch. I think they start at like 11 a.m. or maybe they start at like 1 p.m. and go until 5 p.m. Pacific. But anyways, one of the players, Violet Miller, created and played Ishii. And we're big fans of Violet and of Ishii, and so yeah, we we connected with Distracted Elf and made it happen. We were very excited about that one. And then, you know, the design for Ishii came together so well, so we were really excited about that. And yeah, the color palette that Ishii is like decked out in formation wise, like, we're just really happy with. It looks like my Makos is invisible. Oh, did I? Oh, okay, I accidentally removed them. I'm like, why is my formation so much suck? That's why. Okay, cool. Going back to it, what else we got? Let's see. If I could DM a game for characters from the game, who would be in the party? Ooh. I would be too intimidated to DM for Joe and Holly and Anna and stuff. That would be so weird, right? Because like they have people like, you know, Chris Perkins and Satine and them DM for them, and I'm not convinced that I'm anywhere near the storyteller that they are. Likewise with the rest of the cast of Force Grey. That being said, I think mixing and matching some of the party members would be a lot of fun. You know, like, if you are somebody who follows the Waffle Crew and Dice Camera Action, like the episodes where Binwin was on it before his untimely demise, it was really fun hearing Scott and Anna and Holly's characters interact with each other. So I'd love to take like Binwin and Evelyn and Strix and maybe add a couple more to that party, you know? I mean, maybe Archon would be a good fit for that party. That would be awesome. And then, like, what the hell? Add Dritz to it because they wouldn't have a fighter or a ranger or whatever Dritz is these days. Super ninja. That would probably be fun. Srathas, how to use stream codes on my phone app. So, first of all, like, we don't officially have a mobile phone version of Idle Champions. You can play the game on tablet for Android or iPad. You know, and like, there are ways to have those then, you know, simulated on your mobile device, whatever it happens to be. But it's not an officially supported part of the game, and I just want to be a little bit clear about that. So basically, you can't. There's no way to input a DLC or stream code in the tablet versions of the game, and that's very specifically. It's not because we don't want to. It is 100% because the rules for Google's Play Store and Apple's iTunes App Store are explicit in that we can't bypass the store to give anybody anything. So we're just not allowed to do it. So again, to reiterate, we are working on a workaround, but it's not something that's easy. It'll take some time. Giant dwarf. Is Strix now the streamer version of Wolverine? Which is to say that like a part of every team. I mean, yeah, kind of. And like Holly, honestly, Holly plays Strix so well. I personally would not at all be surprised to see her invited to participate in other shows. I don't know if it'll happen because Holly is busy, and I think she just relocated to Seattle. But yeah, I mean, Strix is such a fun character that is so endearing and wonderful to watch. And like if you've seen any of the AC Inc. live shows at PAX where Holly's been a part of it, I mean, she's awesome. She does a killer job. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her show up more. Yeah. Like Great Guys. What do you think needs to happen for Narak or Delena to be competitive with Hitch? I believe it was mentioned on stream that it was preferable to buff the underused characters, with the exception of Barrowan, instead of nerfing the overused ones. So let's ignore Barrowan for a moment, because I think we can all agree that categorically Barrowan is too good. No one champion should be responsible for your formation getting like dozens of areas further. That's so much progress for one character to provide. Now, the biggest downside to both Narak and Delena is that they share a slot with Hitch, who is basically essential to almost every formation. Yeah, like just straight up. So they're competing with a buffer slot. So one of two things needs to happen. They either need additional supporting champions to be added to the game that allow for them to shine. You know, like if Delena and Narak if they're going to stay as DPS, just strictly DPS characters, then at some point, okay, they would probably need more supports across other slots to allow them the opportunity to take that spot. You know, alternative formations, which might also incidentally help some of the other DPS characters that are in slots that are commonly used for something else, like a big one being, you know, ignoring Gromma, Binwin and Naeli, like 95% of players are not going to put Binwin in, not because he's not good, because Binwin is good, especially if you have epics and can get his extra attacks up high. But Naeli is just, you can't not use her. You have to use Naeli. So Narak and Delena either need enough support through other slots to become viable as the party DPS, or they need reworks to allow them to provide something else to the party. So it's one of those two things. I think that what will happen is that eventually we will have enough buffers across other slots, and we'll, you know, have unique tanks here and there. And like, while we do tend to focus types of champions in specific slots sometimes, like, you know, the slot 4 character, is it slot 4? Yeah, slot 4, the Ishii, Jarlaxle, Stokey. They all have some gold find related thing, and we tend not to spread gold find around the entire thing, because that would make it too easy to farm and, you know, would break other parts of the game. But you know, once we have, you know, unique outliers all over the place that allow for different types of formations, it'll just keep blowing up the meta. So, you know, with 17 or so just event champions coming out each year, never mind evergreen champions, because I think there's at least 3 in next year's schedule. You know, we're hoping to just keep breaking it up. So I hope that answers your question enough, like Grace Guys, and I didn't just ramble to myself endlessly. Lord Belmontis. It may have been asked before, but is there or has there been any thought of making characters based off of Vox Machina or the Mighty Nine? A Critical Role. No, that's actually the first time that's ever come up, Belmontis. I'm glad you asked. No, but seriously, the only thing we can say about Critical Role is that we're huge fans of the show. We love it. I laughed my ass off at Laura Bailey's one-shot last week when Matt Mercer and Marisha Ray were on vacation in the UK, because they did The Breakfast Club meets Harry Potter, and it was a blast. And honestly, the combat encounter that Laura set up for them to fight at the end was one of the most unique things I've ever seen in any D&D game. Like, just a level of creativity that was right up there with when Mike Krahulik DM'd the Player Unknown Battlegrounds during that AC Inc. show. I think, was that last year or earlier this year? That was brilliant too, because like they took something that you really really liked in another context and just put an amazing spin on a D&D game with it. And I think like that kind of stuff I love that stuff. So yeah, anyways, we would love to. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Critical Role is a bright shining star ascending to the heavens in the world of D&D, and like we're pretty small fish in comparison. I don't know if it'll happen. We would love for it to. So just cross your fingers. Maybe we'll get lucky. Hellscream. Welcome, Hellscream. As a newer player, I seem to wall near the low 200s with core champions and Strix. What should I focus on to progress further into the 250s, 300s? Item levels, silver chests, favor runs and blessings, or other champions like Barrowin and Birdsong. So, I mean, currently, which is to say before Justin's tanking and healing update comes out, the Barrowin Strix thing is just a combination that's like kind of unbeatable in terms of how much further it can help you get. But just like focusing on buying all the blessings, like getting all of the blessings is so helpful that you gotta do that. So I mean, I would never spend more than half of the favor that I have to get them, because you want to reach your level cap and your wall as fast as possible. But buying all the blessings is a huge step. And honestly, in your grind for that, you should earn enough silver chests that you don't have to buy any. And like, you kind of want to focus your gems on gold chests until you have all epics. But yeah, Hellscream, that's my best advice right now. Got to get those blessings. And then I don't know if you're already in the official Discord. I think you might be. But if you aren't, and anybody else who is interested, discord.gg/idlechampions. Join us. We're all in there. We talk about Idle Champions all the time. Yeah. There's a lot of just resources. Moose Changer Pat. Is he seriously trying to do a Zaka's Procession without Tyrell or Barrowin? Yes. Yes, I am. Now, I should say that like when I did actually complete a Zaka's Procession, it wasn't with Barrowin. I used Barrowin's tricks only for clearing enemies during regular encounters, but like I never used them for boss fights. It was always Birdsong, because yeah. Birdsong is just able to attack so fast that they do a better job of keeping the battle area clear on fights like a Serac than Strix does, because of how slow she attacks, or a lot of other ones. But I think that Farida might be able to do it because she attacks 5 times at a time, and you can stack her damage multiplier really high. So that's why I'm using her. Because I'm using her, I think that Deacon, Calliope, and Hitch, and you know, I just think that the party characters that I have right now are able to provide better buffs than Tyrell is. You know, got to have the Tieflings for Farida. That's worth more than having Tyrell in one of those slots. So we'll see. Sword Oath. Is there a way to get this look for the interface while still using a mouse and keyboard? Well, technically I'm using a mouse and keyboard right now as well as the controller. Like, hey, there's my mouse cursor. I think I can even still click on the enemy. But yeah, just go into, and I can't show you the change because it boots you out of the game, but if you go into the settings, display in gamepad UI mode is an option. Now, when you toggle that on or off and go to save changes, it'll shut down the game because you have to reload it, because it reloads with the different interface. It's not an easy switch. Yeah, you can mouse click this still. So, I mean, you can use this with your keyboard and mouse interface, but like there's a few things that are different, like not showing your favor. And also it doesn't, like you can't enter a code in the store through this UI. So, your guy Rye, what edition of Dungeons and Dragons based on flexibility is your favorite? Oh, that's an edition question, and I don't wanna piss off anybody who has a particularly favorite edition. Except to say, like, I have played more 3.5 than any other edition of D&D because it had so much. But I think I have more fun with 5th edition. They've done a fantastic job of just introducing tons of stuff to it. I mean, there are new subclasses and races all the time. Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I don't know if anybody's been following that, like Jeremy Crawford talking about it on Twitter and other stuff, but like there's tons more cool stuff coming. So I'm actually pretty excited about all that stuff. So like I never stop getting excited about 5e right now just because of how much stuff keeps coming out for it. So you know, AD&D I felt like was maybe too complicated. I had a harder time with it than I did with 3.5. Really liked 3.5 a lot. I didn't engage with 4 E very well and ended up going back to 3.5. But I'm loving 5th edition. Sketch Monkey. Don't you think Diath is a little weak? He should shine in Kellenborn missions, but even with blessings, you may use Calliope over Diath and like a plus 1000% bless. So it depends. If you're using a Strix DPS, having Diath is fantastic. I find that the biggest issue I have with Diath is just finding a good spot to slot him in the formation versus whoever I'm using otherwise. Calliope buffing a row in front. You just tend to have fewer rows in the front that can buff backwards than the other way around. Like it's easier to buff in front of you than behind, I guess is the phrasing I'm looking for. So it's just like he's just competing with slots, and you don't need to compete with slots. So I don't know that he's underpowered, but he seems good. Kyozji, when are you all going to fix the massive chat font after opening the store? Have you put in a ticket? I haven't noticed that issue. Mars, do you have the Calliope Shielding Melody achievement? Thinking about going for it myself. Should take me about 2 weeks. I don't, and that's one of the feats that, as Justin mentioned last week on stream, is going to go the way of the dodo following... I'm just reading the guy's chat. Anyways, the Calliope's shielding achievement is going to disappear with the tanking and healing update because the tanking and healing systems are going to change so much that a number of achievements that are related to them now are going to become legacy achievements and are going to no longer be achievable. People will have them, you know, as kind of like feats of strength in World of Warcraft. Like it'll be a bit of a prestige thing, but it won't be something that new players who join the game will be able to earn. Let's see. Awkhurst. When did the gold chest mercy timer change? I've had a large amount of purple items in the last week after a very long, slow crawl. It hasn't changed since February, so RNG is RNG. There is a 12% chance, I think, per gold chest for an item to be an epic equipment card that will definitely happen within 10 chests. Like, so if you are at 9 chests and you received 9 rare items, then yeah, the 10th chest will definitely have an epic. But no chest code has changed since early February of this year. You might do better by kicking out Hitch for Tyrell. I don't know that I will, but I could try it. Tell you what, Sketch Monkey, we'll see if the number goes up. All right. No, that's quite a lot of DPS lost. Wait, what? They can't both be losses. That's paradoxical. That time it went up. Oh, maybe you're right. Glitchiness. I mean, incidentally, might it be... Well, no, it probably wouldn't. I would have thought that Hitch's friendly buff would have been higher than Tyrell's, but I guess not. Evil Sales Ass. Evil Sales Ass. Are there any plans to do more things with gems in addition to buying chests and familiars? We've talked about it. I guess the biggest issue is that gems have been a greatly exploited in-game currency at different times, and so it's difficult for us to add a gem store, for example. It would be difficult for us to add one without it just getting exploited to crap, and so we don't want to do that because like we need the shop parts of the game to have a certain amount of what's the word I'm looking for? How do I put it? We don't want to make our shop irrelevant because players can exploit gems and exploit their way into lots of them. You know, like a player who is active, who is not scripting or, you know, speed hacking or any of that stuff, you know, can earn a few thousand chests a day if they're really on it. But people have been able to exploit vastly higher sums of that. And like a lot of those accounts tend to get themselves automatically banned by our system because they do dumb things or they red flag themselves by what they're doing. But you know, they're adding a gem store is something that would have to be approached extremely carefully. So I don't know, like, you know, we had talked about it at one point, and then we kind of saw some of the problems it can create, and we kind of held off. And like, we might revisit that conversation, but I don't know if we will soon. Weird and quirky. Do you have a favorite character? If so, why? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think my favorite characters always tend to be the ones that I played in D&D games. But if you're talking about this game, probably, yeah, Ishi's pretty awesome. Mars, now that we're in year 2, do event chest pity timers persist beyond the event's end, or do they reset? They don't reset. Although I don't think there was an event chest pity timer when this event rolled around last time, so I can't remember which event we started those with. Hope that helps. All right, let's pay attention to this formation for a moment. Let's see how. So Tyrell, huh? All right, then I need to move a familiar over to him. Oh, I have another one. I'll just put another one on him. Oh, he's over there. Oh, he's got an Elmirage on him. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, right. Okay. I just couldn't see the Elmirage on his shoulder. It's already there. I'm super smart, people. Okay, cool. Alrighty. What else we got for questions? I have a bunch here saved up for Chris, so if I haven't answered your question, and it's not something that's already been answered by chat, we'll get to them when Chris gets here. We kind of backlog them. Swap Tyrell and Strix. Dylan, you're triggering me. Why? Do you think that's actually going to improve the DPS? Oh, yeah. Okay, that... Of course, she's no longer getting the buff, but, well, whatever. Anyways. Where did the gold mimic chest familiar come from? Well, 0137, that came from the first year anniversary event for celebrating the launch of Idle Champions on Steam, which happens in the beginning of September. So players who participated in enough of that event, which mostly involved just logging in daily and claiming rewards, earned the familiar after, I want to say, 4 of the 7 days. So, let's see. Is there a way to show DPS using the mouse and keyboard interface? What do you mean? Like party DPS? Like, do you mean... Because I can hold down the left trigger and show this. In which case, yes. We don't have this. Well, 2 with 1. Yeah, you just hold down the left trigger on in the gamepad UI, but there isn't an equivalent in the Steam version of the game yet. Okay, there's too many people trying to tell me how to do the formation, and I'm trying to pay more attention to chat than the game. Whoops. I think that's about as optimal as it's going to get, but anyways. Okay, so. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome, DC Backroads. Chris is going to join us in a few minutes here. Lots of questions getting answered, Dylan getting formation help, the usual. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything in here that is for Chris that I can get out of the way now? Any new difficult variants coming soon? That was from Artifexy. Who knows how long ago that was? Yes. There's a bunch of stuff related to balance. Dun, dun, dun. If you could tell us a new campaign content when, I mentioned this, that was from Pebcac Error. So I mentioned this during the subreddit Q&A, but there's a list there with dates. But yeah, the next content update will come next week after Liar's Night 2 is over. Any idea which campaign is getting the next adventure? I do. I do know. Do we want to spoil it? I won't spoil it in words, but I will say that there will be a good hint about which part's coming next at the end of this stream. Not unlike the end of last stream. What else we got here? Let's see. No, these are all pretty much for Chris. Okay, yeah, I can't help with any of the other ones there. Is Strix supposed to be biting her lip in that picture? Yeah, basically. I mean, she's anxious. It's trying to characterize her anxiety. Like Gray Skies. What character you really wish you could use but can't or don't because they cannot compete with other alternatives? Probably Wolfgar. I think Wolfgar is a really well-designed, pretty awesome champion, but it's just like the Tyrell Barrow slot is just too competitive for party buffs to justify using somebody who is like a really good DPS. So, and like Kat did such a good job of Wolfgar. Like Wolfgar looks awesome. You know, I'm hoping that following an Archon rework and more evil champions added to the game, that a Krond Wolfgar formation will be possible. So we'll see. Anyways, how is your D&D campaign going? Oh, let's see. We played last weekend, so we have a few. So I'm DMing technically one campaign, but now two in the office of Dragon Heist, because the party has split onto two radically different adventures. They're kind of hard to get too much progress on just because of people coming and going from the office. Like Kevin is playing in one of our campaigns, and he just had shoulder surgery, so he's out all week this week. And then, Georgia has some leave, so she's out. And then like last week, I think it was, or maybe the week before, like Kat was out. So it's like this, it's like we've just been like kind of unlucky in having some consistency with our lineup. They're going good. It's hard to talk too much about them because I don't want to say off the book for the Dragon Heist campaign, but like I'm doing it pretty differently just because a number of the people involved have already read the Waterdeep Dragon Heist book. Like they know it. So a lot of different stuff going on in theirs. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. As for my game, I'm, outside the office, the one where I play an Azamar Death Domain cleric in the Tomb of Annihilation. We have 8 of the 9 puzzle cubes to enter the Tomb of the Nine Gods. That's where we're at. We've been in Omu for the last few sessions, just kind of burning through it. And yeah, we're getting there. What is my favorite Idle Champions event story? What's it called? The one that Fleet's Wake, the one where it's like ocean focused. That one, I really like that one. Actually, no, scratch that. The Great Modron March, because Modrons are awesome. Waskies 9161. Which one of Evelyn's specializations are better right now? Compel Duel or Fighting Style Protection? Compel Duel is categorically better for the most part right now. Sketch Monkey, why can't I see what level you are on? Because the overlay is on top of it. I am in area 221, which is like, it's right here, but obviously there's the episode number and stuff over top of it. It's funny because in the gamepad UI you can't see it there, but with the keyboard and mouse UI you can. So yeah, 220 something. I'm just waving at Chris, telling me come in. The top 3 dumbest things your players have done in your campaigns in the last couple of years. Oh God. How much time do we have? We got an hour left. I might have time to explain that. There's at least there are you know what? There are a couple dumb things my players have done in the last few weeks that they don't know yet how dumb they are, but they will. And I'll just leave it at that. And then I will welcome Chris to the stream and turn on his mic and
I'll put my headphones on.
Set up the view and shuffle over a little bit.
My first question for you was, I one of those players that did a dumb thing?
No comment.
Oh no.
If you had the chance to do a Ravenloft Mask of the Red Death quest, would you do so? That could be fun.
Wow, I look bald on the stream today.
Yeah.
I do actually have hair today.
Well, yeah, but
trimmed it really short.
It's just lighting.
Yeah.
It needs to be enough lighting to see me. So sorry.
It's.
I mean, we could tone down that light a little bit, which would probably help you, but
it's all good.
Yeah.
I'll take the hit for you.
Also, I won't get into our camera setup. So we have a bunch of backlog stuff for you. I tried to go through a little bit. But,
that's great.
Alrighty. So.
Sorry, I have whistly nose syndrome.
Is it bring your kid's illness into the office syndrome like the rest of our office? Because I am well out of sick days, and it's like hitting my paychecks at this point. Never been sick as much as I have working here. It's nuts. All right, might we see an update that will track selected achievements on the play screen without visiting the achievement tab? So like tracking achievements, but then like when you do complete your adventure, telling you how much progress you made.
That's an interesting idea. We're always thinking about new things that we can add to the end adventure screen to kind of let you know what you've done, and giving you an update on which achievements you have impacted throughout that game is definitely a good thing we could add to it. I'm unsure. I gotta look at this one.
Well, I mean, you don't have to look at any of them, really.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but that one. Or this screen, or this screen, or this screen. No.
You still haven't put your googly eyes up there. I want the googly eyes.
Oh yeah,
eye contact with the
make eye contact with the camera. Yeah, unfortunately, there's too many things to pay attention to, right? Like I'm not even looking at this.
Well, you have to pay attention to all this. I just have to sit here and answer questions.
Okay, cool. So since we're not getting an evergreen champion this year, can we get a hint as to what they are like? Class, race?
It's a dwarf. It's a dwarf, and I'm pretty excited about the design. Unfortunately, it's my job to make sure that we hit all our weekly milestones and we execute on our plan. And sometimes that means that some of the more ambitious ideas I have to get thrown away. And it's much easier to cut some of my ideas than to cut other ideas that other people are excited about. So yeah, we pushed. We were going to have an evergreen champion come out right before the end of the year. But with all of the pressures we have with workload right now, and with the new stuff we've got in the hopper and we're working really hard on, I wanted to make sure that we didn't overtax our artists or our tech folks, especially right before the holidays. I think everyone's aware of all the discussions going on about a crunch in the video game industry and 100-hour work weeks, and that is just not the way that we do things here at Codename, or not the way we want to do things at all. So, you know, in prioritizing, some things have to go on the wayside, just like a lot of the things that people have been asking about for quite some time. We're aware of them. We have a long list that grows, and we pick things out as we can slot them in. So, she'll come, but it'll be a little while.
They want to know if you're planning new blessings for Helms.
We're planning new blessings for everything.
Arcan Sunseeker, do you have an idea of how long a window there is until tanking and healing?
I do. So I have an idea, because scheduling.
What are you allowed to say, though?
Huh?
What are you allowed to say?
Allowed?
Because Justin was like, before the end of what year is it?
So we have a target date. It is going into heavy tech and QA starting next week. And that's pretty much what I'm going to say on that. It is. See, now I'm gun shy after the Evergreen Champion issue.
Yeah, don't promise anything that you're not going to deliver on.
I
Chris.
know. I don't want to keep doing this. People stop trusting me. But yeah, we're pushing for it. We want it out definitely before the end of the year. The hope is within the next single-digit weeks, which I guess is the end of the year. You're
Good
welcome,
answer.
Internet.
There's a suggestion earlier today about a potion that will have a redistribute item levels more evenly in a champion's equipment. Also, possibly fixing the over-leveled slot 6 items that are shiny and gold. Do you think something like that would be a good idea?
I think that's a pretty dangerous game to play because, you know, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take levels from 1, 2, or 3 items and get it redistributed to the others. And I guess if you do the math and if we made it just an even balance, that could work, but yeah, a random thing that, no, not random, but a thing that rejiggers item levels is a little dangerous. I'd rather look at it at an approach of, you know, overvaluing in terms of what piece gets picked, overvaluing things that are lower leveled, so that way they have more of a chance of catching up, but not so much that you definitely know that it's the only thing that could get leveled up.
Do you want to take that question?
I will. Gamepad UI is looking good. Planning on a console launch. Are we planning on a console launch? The answer is yes. Yes, we are. We are deep in work on it right now. The Gamepad UI is both our first pass on console UI and it gave us the ability to make this awesome looking UI for all of our Steam players as well. And we're going to take learnings from that and continue to update it. I think Dylan alluded to earlier in the discussion that there's a new version coming, and the console build is coming along great. It's going to get the new UI revisions, and thank you to everyone who's been jumping into the Gamepad UI. And can you show them where the feedback section is on the start menu? So if you're in the Gamepad UI and you're playing around and you see something that feels weird and you want to let us know, like, I wish this button did this. I wish I had the ability to do this a little bit easier. Go to the settings, go to Gamepad feedback. It'll jump you into a separate browser tab. You can send us an email and put a ton of detail in there. Let us know, because now's the time. The next couple of weeks are key to getting that console UI locked down, so everyone can have an awesome experience at home, which I did a couple of nights ago. I got a code. I put it on my home Xbox, and I spent a couple of hours playing Idle Champions on my couch. It was pretty cool. My daughter came downstairs, and I showed it to her. She's like, "It's on the TV now?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's on the TV now." She's very excited. But we're working on that, and coming soon, TM.
Twitch Mithril wants to know where they can see updates for the Gamepad UI.
Right now, we're going to do a big update probably in a couple of weeks. We want to get the Gamepad UI up to par with our current in-the-office model, just so folks that are sending us information, we're not wasting your time by you telling us stuff that we've already fixed. And then you can also see the fruits of your labor. You know, if you want something changed and we put an update out there and it got changed, like that's an awesome feeling. And we appreciate everyone who's sent us comments.
Somebody wants to comment how they like your white mustache because of your name.
Oh yeah, well that's a problem. See, like when I'm in charge of the stream, I can mess with all the cameras. So
yeah, you mess with the height of my chair too. I was so annoyed about that. I was like,
I know it's like when you get in your car after your wife's been in it, and you're just like, no, it's all messed up.
That's every day for me. Let's see. Are there any plans for introducing tanks that are more than simply lots of health? Oh, getting into tanks. Probably be premature of us to talk about tanking at all right now. I mean, do you have a spiel that you want to give about what the status is of that update, except to say that it's being worked on heavily right now?
No, Justin's been really heads down on it for the past couple of weeks. We sat down and kind of said, all right, this is the time. We got to do it now. Let's just do a big push towards it, and he's been running with it. I've been dealing with day-to-day stuff, continuing the updated design for our weekly updates. But Justin's really been heads down on tanking and healing, and I'm looking forward to diving into it with him next week. But yeah, I don't want to go too deep into new tank things because I think the whole world is going to shift with the way we think of tanks after the tanking and healing updates. So anything I throw out now is not going to be helpful. And pardon me, I shouldn't have had carbonated water. Also, I should have turned away from you. I apologize. I'm not sick. I'm fine.
Let's see. Hellish Dream would like us to make healing more visually exciting. Just
Okay.
The numbers counting up is kind of like, eh.
Okay. No, that's a good note for the tanking healing update, because as we're rejiggering and balancing the numbers and rebalancing how you can see, especially when mobs are kind of piled up on you, making it look more exciting is a very good thing.
Let's see. Tiger Me Now is asking about journals, looking back at other storylines and other loot that they earned, etc. Yeah, especially given that so many of them become locked and you can't go back to them. So
Yeah, and especially because we're doing more and more alternate dialogue on variants, which has been a lot of fun to work on. Yeah, we need to redo the journal. We need to figure out a great way to kind of give you the story up to now. You know, you have the little quest blurb that tells you, you know, what you're doing on this level, but the idea of jumping into a journal to see not only a layout of all the discussions, so if you miss it, you can jump back and scroll through it quickly, but also kind of in the idea of an ever-evolving paragraph. You know, the adventurers are in Shoku and they're doing this, and then they ran into this, and then this happened, and giving you a quick rundown, especially early on and with variants. I think that's something that we definitely want to get to, but it's not going to be looked at until at least January.
Okay. Lost and Damned is wondering, since Force Grey's the show lineup has changed so much between storylines, if we have any chance of seeing the other characters.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if folks that own those characters, if folks that have represented those characters are interested in working with us, we're interested in working with them. Force Grey is a big group for us. Obviously, most of our core champions, or many of our core champions, are Force Grey champions. And we definitely love to bring Dagny or any of the other ones that we don't have into the game, for sure.
Oh, maybe Joe would give us Toro. Rastasplash. Speaking of Dritz, when is he getting a buff so I can actually use the companions?
That is on the list.
Yeah, Chris. When are the companions gonna not suck?
Don't go that far.
It's totally not your fault. That was before you even got here.
It was. So you know, we had the Dritz boost out there, knowing that when we got them all together, because we didn't have Wolfguard designed when we had Dritz design, and when we got it all together, they seemed good. We don't want them to be too overpowered. Obviously, they are not living up to the hype of some of the most recognizable D&D characters in lore. So they're on the agenda. The highlight right now is tanking and healing, and that won't include any of them, I don't think. You'll get a little bit of a buff for some of the characters because we're rejiggering the way their base health is built. It's built off of a base value plus a little bit of a boost for con and a little bit of boost for armor. So you'll see things like, you know, Bruenor will have higher health than Catti-brie, for example. But we're not going to do a bigger balance push on those characters probably until Q1 of 2019. That's when we would look towards the rebalance push. So the goal, the planning is, you know, tanking and healing for the tanks, the healers, the shielders. We're going to have a whole bunch of new changes for them. From there, we've hit a third of our characters, 25% of our characters. And then we're going to start looking at a bigger rebalance pass on the other characters that we didn't touch. However, as we come around to the repeat events, the year 2 events, we're going to use that as our opportunity to look at the year 1 champion and give them a little bit of love if we haven't gotten to update them, just like we did with Krond. And I think the updates with Krond were pretty well met. Kron's definitely in more formations now for me than he has been recently.
More than 0 is pretty easy.
One thing to note is that Grama will not be getting an update before her Feast of the Moon revamp, before the Feast of the Moon year 2, because she's so heavily involved with tanking and healing. We need to make sure that as a group they're all working before we put any one of them out. So Grama will be the same Grama for year 1. But don't disregard her. She's getting updates. Grab her chests. Finish her achievements. because our goal is that everyone that we're balancing in tanking and healing will be viable.
Murky wants to know if you're going to make a dex tank.
Sure, that'd be pretty cool.
It'd be an interesting thing to balance around. Anyways, let's see. Duckwork wants to know if alternative skins or costumes could have different affiliations.
You know, that's actually a really good idea for the characters that might split multiple affiliations. You were talking about Strix earlier. Strix has just been all over the place.
She's the Wolverine of D&D.
She's the Wolverine of D&D.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping for a Wolverine cameo in Infinity Wars 2.
Avengers 4?
Yeah.
They can. They can do whatever they want. The only characters they don't own are Spider-Man and everything tied to him. So.
Yeah, but they're friendly with Sony now.
Well, it's because Sony crashed and burned 2 different Spider-Man franchises in a decade. That's why.
But I love the idea of a Strix Bee Stinger outfit eventually, and that's how she becomes affiliated with the C team. That's super cool. I'm gonna write that down.
Alrighty. Could you build different character versions into the skins, thus giving different snapshots of the characters?
We could, and we might. It's something that we've discussed. The challenge with that is it's just tech time and design time. Right now, all of our skins are cosmetic only, and we don't have any immediate plans to change that. Obviously, I'm writing down a plan that would change that, but right now we're not looking for design changes with the characters with the skins. We want that to be a cosmetic fun, but we don't want you to feel like, oh, well, you don't have the Arcan with the Hand of Vecna skin, so Arcan's not viable for you. Like, that's...
I'm still just mad we don't have that already.
I'll get to it.
Let's see. Artifexy wants us to have a strength buffer for underutilized champions like Mince, Jamila, Binwin. And Krond.
Like a potion or like a buffer?
Just somebody who buffs strength like Hitch buffs charisma.
Yeah.
Alrighty. If Wolfgar wasn't a Hitch target, Narak would have had a spot in a companions formation. Just saying.
Yeah, well, it's good to know.
You're not wrong, Giant Dwarf.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. What about adding High Rollers characters since you already partnered with them?
That sounds like a thing we could do sometime next year. Maybe.
Hawker and Co. Given the general objective of the tanking and healing update, are you guys going to review the usefulness of Gold Find in the context of the stratified difficulties?
Well, we're going to do the offline gold gain fix. Whether or not that touches Gold Find is to be decided.
Got any more of them Tiefling Bards?
We got
They want a Deacon Farida formation to be even better.
With some champions coming up, it could be.
We certainly have
not a Tiefling Bard, but we do have 2 Bards in the queue.
We have Bards in the queue.
Them
Bards for days.
Deacon's gonna be a beast.
That was my favorite part of the Rick and Morty D&D comic was when the part where Rick was talking about he's like, I made a Bard, Morty, and you know what I did? I ripped it up because they're bullshit. That made me laugh pretty hard. Because I'm like, ugh, they can do anything. It's so annoying as a DM. It's like, oh, I'm going to seduce this guy, and then I'm going to cast this spell, and then I'm going to stab this other guy. And you're like, oh, stop rolling so well. All right. Let's see. Will achievements that are legacied, or will some... let's see. Oh, yeah, they're wondering about legacy achievements. I mean, Justin kind of went into it last week.
Yeah, he talked about it a little bit. I think there's still a lot of discussion that needs to go on behind the scenes. So keep talking about it. We're watching, and... Obviously, our goal is to keep things balanced and working moving forward. It is not to take away achievements that you've already completed. I mean,
yeah, it's there isn't a finalized decision around it, but we're because the question also comes up about whether or not ones that have been moved into legacy achievements would continue to provide a formation DPS buff, which I don't know. I mean, that's kind of something that would be really unfair. If a whole bunch of them moved off and like somebody new joined and there was like 20 legacy achievements or something, like it's kind of...
I don't think a new player joining and legacy achievements being there is really a problem because one, we're still in early access. We're still figuring out how everything's going to look. I mean, we've got a year of examples, and I think that's where the legacy achievement idea can come from. And I think having legacy achievements isn't the worst thing. But how we implement that, how we sort of wall them off is still a TBD discussion.
Yeah. They want to know if gold supply crates will show up in the shop.
Not at the moment, but I just put in a Steam DLC that would contain gold supply chests that could be releasing this month.
Is the Tomb of Annihilation adventure finished, or will there be more?
There will be more. In fact, I have to write an outline for that last Monday.
Let's see. Calamity Jane. Is there a way to see how far you are from reducing a deadly encounter to a challenging one? Like gear ratings for each versus total needed to reduce? Our adventure difficulties are just wrong.
Yeah, they're based. It is a very challenging calculation to figure out because it's so dependent on favor, equipment levels, characters you have or don't have, the amount of blessings you've purchased. Like we need to do a pass on that. We need to make it better and clearer. And I think the first step is figuring out what the right thresholds are, and then figuring out if there's a way to tell you how close you are to being able to be to have it be a better target for you.
Okay. Whose idea was it to put Wolfgar in the Barrow slot? Hashtag blame Chris.
Oh no, it's totally hashtag blame Chris. Everybody's got to go somewhere, and unfortunately, we're gonna have champions that they're gonna go into a slot. And you're gonna say, "Oh, why are they in that slot?" Well, there are reasons. Maybe 9 out of the 12 slots just weren't good for whatever future reason that we had to pick. But try them out. Check them out. Know that down the line you're gonna have more and more gear for them. Good luck, buddy. You can do this. And I'm not going to say we're never going to get anything wrong, but we're constantly thinking about the meta. We're constantly thinking about how difficult it would be to put a new champion in a slot that has such a core champion that's been around for so long and is so beloved and so useful. But somebody's got to go in that slot, and we've got almost 3 champions in every slot, so we're going to start to see the 4th one queue up soon.
And more characters from the Baldur's Gate games?
Yeah. One I'm not locking in a date, but yes.
I've seen emails back and forth between you and people at Beamdog, so I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Let's see. Why does Frida's gear bonus get applied to Pact Family for each Tiefling, while Deacon's gear bonus only gets applied once, regardless of the number of bards?
That is a background detailed math question that Justin and Mark were discussing recently and might need to be addressed when we put out more bards. So.
No. Are you kidding? That would be so... Because Deacon's buff is already so powerful. If he...
Let me clarify.
If they swap that calculation around, they would be like, oh, yeah, that would be a problem. Yeah, I can tell you mathematically. There's a very good reason that we didn't break our game with that calculation. Yeah. You thought Deacon was better than Bruner now, let me tell you. If we swapped that around. Yeah, I mean, we want it to be good, but not super good because his buffing is already so amazing.
Mm-hmm. And there's more bards coming.
Okay. Ray Cool wants to know why Dritz's Companion's the hard additive. Buff is additive instead of multiplicative.
God, I've been waiting weeks to say this. Hashtag blame Justin.
Yeah, that's true. He was worried about him being too good when we first released him, and it was just Deacon and Bruner. So, although there was a brief window there when he was really good because his ult is strong. Sword Oath, is there a chance that time gates might be upgraded to drop an extra chest just to give players who are unlocking champions through them the opportunity to use those champions? I got Deacon out of one, but I really can't use them because he's got 2 empty slots. It feels like a bit of a carrot on a stick tease.
So time gates were my design. I worked really closely with Justin on it. We're really proud of how it's working. We're excited that we don't have to ask you to wait for the champion to come back around to get it for free. But yes, in the new year, figuring out the right balance of ways for free-to-play players to gear up the champions viably is definitely on my to-do list.
Would it be possible to have this cool gamepad UI mouse controllable? I mean, the UI looks great, way better than the normal UI, but I don't have a controller like that.
So 2 things to that point. One, as Dylan pointed out, there's plenty of knockoff controllers that you might be able to pick up on the cheap, especially at like a thrift store, that would allow you to play with it. These are not expensive,
yeah. You don't need to get the full like $60 Xbox.
Yeah, no, I think I got one for my desk. It was like $20. But that's not saying that we want you to have to purchase that. This is an option for the players. And for those that don't want to play with the gamepad UI, they don't want to play with the gamepad, they just don't like it, or they don't have a gamepad, we will eventually be looking to bring some of the learning, some of the upgrades from the gamepad UI into the main UI. Will it look like this and be mouse controllable? I don't know. But that is a Q1 2019 discussion.
They want to know if the upcoming dwarf is Nazca.
I don't think I should really be saying which dwarves it is or isn't, because then we're just going to play the game of elimination.
I mean, we've already confirmed that it's not Nazca, but...
Have we?
Yeah. I'll tell you about how you did that later. Least favorite formation and why?
I don't know. I like all the formations. I know everyone makes fun of the more quirky formations that I put together, but...
There's a really janky one that got put out earlier this year that I hated.
Thanks, buddy.
I can't remember which...
I love it when
no,
you
it was
do
before.
my stuff.
No, it was before you were here.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It's one of the weird ones where like Justin's like, yeah, I just kind of randomly made it, and we're like, okay, 'cause it's just like, I'd have to look through them and figure out which one it was. But I remember one of them being like, I like the ones that force you to have more characters in the front than in the back, because it's like when there's when it just inverts it. Like the inverse is the Tomb of Annihilation one, where it's like you have one tank and like you can really comfortably set up your tanks and your healing and stuff, which will probably be even better following that update. But I like it when it's reversed around, when you're forced to have more characters in the front.
And that's why I want Nayela to keep her taunt. Justin and I are currently fighting about that.
Yeah. Will we see any Warforged champions?
So before we touch that one, going back to the formation notes, we're going to continue to play with formations. When events come around, you noticed on High Harvest Tide and on Liar's Night, the formation's mixed up. We've got another mixed up formation for Feast of the Moon. So we're going to be playing with all sorts of stuff. I really hope we don't repeat a formation, but we might, because eventually there's only so many permutations. But we like messing with the formations because it makes other characters more viable, and it gives inspiration to try different things, which I really like.
Okay, so back to it. Warforged champions.
We will see a Warforged champion. We will see a Warforged champion before the end of the year. Let me caveat that. We have designed a Warforged champion. In fact, this guy designed a Warforged champion because I've got way too much stuff on my plate, and you were just like, that's amazing, I would love to design that guy. And I'm like, here you go, buddy. So you did a really great write-up on a Warforged champion. We tweaked it a little bit, and when you write your champion spotlight blog for him.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That's what you get.
You're just trying to pass stuff on my plate.
I am. It's great. Delegate, buddy.
I see how it is.
When you write your champion spotlight blog, you can talk about the changes we made. I'm pretty excited about them. The only caveat to my before the end of the year is we actually have to get it approved through Wizards. So who knows?
If a developer wants a 100-hour work week at Codename Entertainment, would you intervene?
I absolutely would. No one should be working a 100-hour work week. No one should be working a 60-hour work week.
I agree, unless Justin or Dave break the servers, in which case you better get in there and fix them. Artie, any chance of a potion against juggernauts?
No. I think that would be a combination of a bunch of different potions, including the healing potion, which is going to come back.
Oh, yes, the health clairvoyance?
Yeah, no, that's Gold Find.
Okay, what's it called?
Potion
been so long
of greater health or something? It's been gone for so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, somebody will have it in the chat. They'll remember what it was called. Mm-hmm. Any chance of a... Oh, no, that's a repeat. Any way to clear stages faster?
Deacon, Diath, speed potions.
How do you feel about the hashtag blame Chris thing?
Oh, I think it's...
There you go. Heroism.
Nice.
It's called heroism. The potions of heroism are the ones with health. Yeah.
I feel fine about the blame Chris thing. I love gentle ribbing and hazing, and everyone here is super cool, and I know it's all in good fun. So I don't mind. I use it all the time too.
When tanking and healing releases, can we go with the slogan, SH and T happens. So bring a tank. It's funny.
Probably not, but
it's funnier
it
as text
funny.
than it is me saying it out like
Right.
Because I'm not going to swear for no reason. It's got to be really freaking cool. Alrighty, let's see. Does the gamepad UI work on the Steam controller or the Steam Link?
It does work with the Steam controller. I don't know exactly what Steam Link is, and forgive my ignorance.
Steam Link is like it's a streaming to your television kind of thing for Steam. So you can plug in a Steam controller into the Link and then have it stream over the network to whatever computer playing a game.
I honestly don't know.
Basically, it only sucks for first-person shooters where you need the frame rate and stuff. Other than that, it's awesome.
I can tell you that we haven't tested it. If it works, that's awesome.
I played Hyper Light Drifter that way. It was awesome. And also, for anybody who likes Legend of Zelda-like games, Hyper Light Drifter is the best one that's not already a Legend of Zelda. It's fantastic. The guy who made that is awesome.
I'm sorry, I'm sick. I have to go home and play Hyper Light Drifter now.
You're lying. You're going to go play Red Dead. Alrighty, any plans on combination attacks between different party members?
Combo attack between different party members. We have...
Like Chrono Trigger. Did you ever play Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of that in the idea that, like with Wolfgar, the other characters in formation will do something if he's in the formation, but combos probably not at this stage. Probably not for a while, at least.
Any chance to move Dinar's barf, like one tile to the right and one tile to the south when he's engaged in melee? It seems to miss so many mobs by an inch.
Oh, we'll look at that. That's a good point.
Oh, I was ribbing you for this one earlier. How come there's no Donar dialogue in Liar's Night?
So I have an answer for that. And actually, for the barf note, Erica, can you flag that for Mark to look at? So there's no Donar's lines for Liar's Night because with one exception, which is with maybe a couple of exceptions, we try to make the variants we try to make the adventure character agnostic, and the reason why is because it needs to apply to multiple characters. You're going to go through Liar's Night and get Kron. You're going to go through Liar's Night and get Donar. You're going to go through Liar's Night and get the Year 3 champion. And if the text in that adventure is all related to one champion, it just feels weird. So what I do is instead of adding text for a specific champion in a specific adventure, or in their unlock adventure, I sprinkle their text in conversations in future adventures. So I think a lot of you have seen there's a decent amount of Evelyn and Strix and some Deacon talking. Basically, the better I know the character, the more I can figure out what they'd want to... maybe you better get on that, buddy.
Yeah, I should probably play this.
The more I feel like I can step into the character's shoes, the more they're going to make small comments here and there. And Dinar is one of them. We were really excited to work with Ryan. I think he's a funny, quirky character. That sort of braggadocious guy that's trying to reinvent himself with new friends. I think we've all played that role. Maybe not the braggadocious part, but the idea that when you start something new, you can reinvent yourself and then immediately have your team just blame everything on you. But it's not a real-life example.
He killed my Azaka corpse.
Oh, no. She's like double dead now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think I have more than enough healing for 250 to tear through it, though.
Yeah,
I'm probably not going to wall until I
290
get
when you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So we know this is tough.
Are you going to talk about Azaka's possession part 2?
Yeah. I am. Because it's something that bothers me. Keeps me up at night. We know it's tough. It's meant as endgame content. It's not meant to be as frustrating as some players have seen it. If I had my druthers, it would be a little bit more achievable with the previous soft cap update. With the new soft cap update that's coming with the tanking and healing update, I am very, very hopeful that Azaka will be much more achievable for players that have been working to upgrade their Kalimvor favor. I don't yet have a Azaka. I am very anxious to get her because she's super cool.
All right.
That's an awesome question.
Which one?
The 46.
Oh, which character are you looking forward to more? The next character or the one after that? That's tough. They're trying to get you to say something, Chris.
I know what they're doing. I'm gonna say the next character, only because I've seen her animations and I am 30 minutes away from starting to balance her. So, yeah.
Sweet.
She's in the system. I'm going to jump in and start working on it. And so I'm pretty excited to get her in there and start playing.
Cool. Let's see. When will Barrowin be nerfed?
Tanking and healing update.
Let's see. Have you two finished High Rollers yet? I did a week ago. My polish potions landed on Gromma's alt cooldown and Barrowin's all champion buff. Ooh.
I'm definitely going to hit the Minsk GE, but I don't think I'm going to max out.
Yeah, I'm not going to finish it.
But that's only just because you've been so busy on other things.
Well, yeah, and like, so I mean, I already knew in advance what the rewards were going to be, and so I'm like, I don't need to work towards this stuff because I have it. So I haven't really been thinking about it as much. Now, that being said, if I was a starting player around the time that it came out, oh, absolutely, I would have worked my butt off to finish it because the stuff that you get out of it is so worthwhile.
Yeah. The High Rollers promotion for me as a player has been a lot of fun. I know that a lot of players have anxiety about wanting to complete everything. For me, I look at it as just extra free stuff. If I'm gonna run a free play, maybe finishing it at 60 after a few minutes and rebooting and restarting just to get a couple extra points is a good thing. And just keeping watch over what's in there and what I'm gonna get is a lot of fun. Extra free stuff's always good.
Yeah. The ability to turn off potions of speed, or really any potions. We need to be able to turn off the boss.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of tech work.
Yep.
We could add that as a quality of life improvement. But that's going to be a lot of work because you need a way to jump in there, select them, turn them off. You don't want players to accidentally turn them off. We could look into that, but
yeah,
there's
wouldn't be soon, but it's that would be a really nice one. Let's see. Really happy about the jack-o'-lantern distractions.
Yeah, Adam put those together. There weren't a ton of them in Liar's Night. And spoiler alert, there's not going to be a new one in Feast of the Moon. But we're going to continue to sprinkle in those sort of Easter eggs. When you play through the new adventures, hopefully you'll be enjoying the new dialogue, the updated backgrounds, the new monsters, the new tech. We're trying to really focus on, taking this new adventure and making a 2.0 version of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that folks have enjoyed it.
Speaking about bards, Scanlan win.
Scanlan.
Critical Role. It's just another Critical Role character.
Yeah.
When the skies part and, angels come down to serenade us, maybe. Let's see. Any chance we could get a champion that reduces the attack speed of other champions would be an interesting buffer. That technically wouldn't be a buffer. Your DPS would technically go down unless you're using
I think they're talking about reducing the attack speed cooldown.
Yeah. Making them attack faster. That would be cool. Yeah. Actually,
the new champion would definitely like that.
Yeah. I have something to mention. Poke me about that one after we're done the stream, because there's something I wanted to mention that I can't because we're under NDA, but I could to you.
Okay.
Besides Ishii, are there any multi-class characters in the pipeline?
Yes. Next champion is a multi-class champion.
Okay, No Man 84. What are some of the main things you'll be watching out for during the tanking and healing QA process? For example, would it be considered a big deal if walls across a variety of favor levels ended up always being an X51 zone?
There are a lot of things that I want to look at in the QA pass, and I don't want to go into it specifically, but I think it's a good thing that Justin's been doing it. So Justin's been working on it a lot. We've been going through things and talking about things, but it's really his baby that he's kind of working on. So I can come in with a fresh look afterwards. Like, I have an idea of what everything's going to look like and work out to. But I'm also a heavily engaged player, so I'm going to be able to jump in with hopefully fresh eyes and look at it from a player perspective. And I'm going to be looking at it from the fun angle. I'm going to make sure that it still feels fun. It still feels like Idle Champions. It still feels like there's hopefully more management of tanking and healing and placement, and making sure that Yeah, when you hit 51, it's not just this disappointing moment. So yeah, that's one of the things. The monster increase at every 50 levels is definitely something I'm going to be looking at when I'm QAing it. And I'm going to try not to keep sinking down. I know. I got bad posture, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Will there be a 13th bench slot?
We do not have any plans to introduce a 13th bench slot at the moment.
Any plans for having healers in slots other than Celeste?
We have healers in slots other than Celeste.
It's true. Barrow and Tyrell both heal.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make sure that future Waffle Crew and C-Team slots won't have conflicts? I can't have my Waffles Incorporated formation. If I can't have my Waffles Incorporated formation, I'm going to riot.
I can guarantee that both in affiliation and friendly affiliations are something we think of when we're looking at the slots. So making sure that we don't put a DCA character in a DCA character slot, and making sure we don't put a C-Team character in a DCA character slot because they've been working so close together is important. Now, will we...
It's also a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah, trying to solve it.
Because, like, there's so many of them now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I guess, where are you going to put these 8?
Yeah,
9,
I've been trying to
10
think...
characters.
I'm trying to think of things sort of future teching, like, you know,
Yeah.
if we do Walnut, where's she going to go? If we do Cathris, where's he going to go, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Okay. This is an interesting one from Mars. Do you believe personal preferences ever inform design decisions? If you personally just don't like a champion, do you think it ever affects your judgment in working on that character?
No, not for me personally. I work under the mantra of, if I don't agree with something, or if I don't like an idea, I'm going to voice it. I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm going to explain as best as I can why I don't like something. But once my opinion's out there, and once the team has made a decision one way or another, I'm fully on board. I'm fully engaged. I've made my comment. People have heard me. But you know, the good of the game outweighs my personal thoughts on something. I think my personal feelings on a character might actually be the opposite way. If I'm really engaged in a character and I think they're amazing, and I think this can happen to a lot of us, we are more likely to put a little extra effort into it. And I think that's sort of being a super engaged player and being really jazzed about a lot of the champions we have coming up. And I think that's a benefit for the game.
How many characters would be too many for a slot? A bench slot?
Not 4, because that's going to happen soon.
What are your thoughts on potions when it comes to buying them for gems or real money? Or did you want to keep those just in gold chests? That's an interesting question that you could not get yourself in trouble with at all.
No, it's totally not a minefield. Let me answer it in a little bit of a roundabout way. I want more things for you to spend your gems on. That is on my long-term plan. More things for you to spend gems on than just familiars and silver chests. Whether that means we've got a potion store, whether that means we've got we just come up with other things for you to spend your gems on. I don't want gems to just sort of be this resource that you can't use. I don't know that we're going to put out specific potions for sale for gems. But I'm always thinking about that.
Any chance that we will see a formation with 11 or 12 slots, or an open formation that allows you to place heroes wherever you want?
The first question, probably. Not immediately, but I've been thinking about that. I actually thought about adding an extra formation slot or taking an extra formation slot away in a year 2 variant.
Ooh, taking it away would have been fun.
Yeah, I think because I like that kind of challenge to a formation. That's why I like the really quirky ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're gonna play around with formation spaces. Whether we're gonna have a completely open formation for you to just do your own thing with, maybe down the line. We're gonna play with formations. We're gonna continue to mess with them. We're gonna continue to listen on what people are saying, and we'll continue to try new things.
Chokers Forever wants to know if Celeste or anybody else would get a pilgrim skin since the American Thanksgiving is coming in November.
I have been told that I can't talk about American Thanksgiving anymore. Now that
It's also true.
Also,
how many? Well, there were no pilgrims in the Forgotten Realms. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, well, there were. Yeah, no. So no, she won't get a pilgrim skin. She will get a skin coming soon, but it's not a pilgrim skin.
Let's see. Will potions of heroism have a redesign like the fire breath potions, or will they become expired?
TBD. I don't know whether it's going to be a completely new version. I don't know whether it's going to be such a change that it will be. It will be such a change, and it's going to be such a big change, and it's going to have such a big difference to the health if we go on the route that we're going on right now, that the old potions of healing, if you have them, will more than likely just morph into the new potions of healing. Because if you're working with a champion that has 150 health, and you've got a potion of healing that, increases it by... Oh, no, they're percentages, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not set. They're percentages.
Yeah.
So, never mind. I'm just talking crazy. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't looked at what the new potions of heroism is, and the question of whether or not they turn into the old ones, turn into the new ones. We just release the old ones, or we get a new one and we mix it up like we did with the fire breath potions. That's a TBD question for 2 weeks from now, Chris.
Why is a Serac not given his title the Eternal, and why is there no mention of the Aboleth? Yeah, Chris.
Because we can only do so much, and I know that for a lot of people, I'm already throwing too much narrative and too much dialogue into the game. So we can't hit on everything on every adventure, and that's one of the great things about the TRPG adventures, is there's so much to play with in the sandbox, that there's so many different locations you can go to, so many different monsters you can encounter. We can't hit them all, and frankly, we don't want to. Part of the fun of playing these adventures in different avenues, like you could play Tomb of Annihilation with the board game and the video game from BCom and WizKids. You could play it through your TRPG adventure. You could play it through us. We want you to have a similar lexicon and a similar talking points.
They put TOA into Neverwinter, didn't they? I don't think you could go
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So there's so many different ways that you can experience these. We want you to talk about similar things, but we also want to have those moments of, oh, you went left, I went right. What was left? Like, not going through everything and hitting every single beat gives opportunities to talk about it and to relive it and to experience in a different way through a different medium.
Alrighty, so we got to go into the lightning round because of the time.
Oh my god.
We're going to go these faster. So, will there be future promotions like the High Rollers Quest in the future?
We're going to do a post-mortem. I know there's some players, like I said, that have anxiety over wanting to get everything done, and that is obviously not our intention. So we're going to do a post-mortem. We might even do a poll that we send out to players to really gauge their interest on whether we do something like that or something different in the future.
Yeah. Alrighty. Is there something you'd like to share to shamelessly spoil about an upcoming feature that Dylan would not want to?
Guys, I've been peppering my conversation with spoilers all day, and eventually I'm going to get in trouble on spoiling.
That's true. You probably will at some point.
Yeah, so I'm going to say no because I've already given you guys a bunch of spoilers.
Can we expect adventure variants that are limiting champion selection not by statistics and alignment, but, for example, not allowed for rogues or paladins?
Yeah, eventually. The thing right now is that limitation would be so... It would have to end up being long right now because we don't have 8 different rogues. So it would be, can't use rogues and paladins and fighters and... Yeah. We're going to play with different limitations, but I don't think it's going to be class-specific at the moment because it would need to be too many classes.
Timegate related, this is from Untslacko. Will Timegates always have a character we already have?
Normally. So I think the way the algorithm works is it looks at the 3 buckets, it picks one you have, and it picks one you don't have, if at all possible. And then the other bucket can be one you have or don't have. But it always tries to give you someone you have so you can gear them up further, and it always tries to give you someone you don't have so you can unlock a new champion.
Alrighty. Somebody wants to know if we're looking into ways to lower the CPU memory usage. David spent a lot of time on that.
Dave was spending he spent like 3 weeks on it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Any chance for introducing the opportunity to replay variants we've completed?
We have a plan in the future for that. It's probably a Q2 2019 project.
Bench slot buffs.
There are plans for bench slot buffs and side quests and plans that are in my head that might not come to fruition, but I hear you. There are 20x odd champions on the bench, and we want you to do something with them.
Yeah. Is Tiamat in the game already? And if so, where can I battle him? That's what you said. Him, Joker's Forever. It's a her. It's Tiamat. Come on.
Man, I was gonna be nicer about that, but
no, that is incorrect. 5 heads.
Tiamat is not in the game. However, as Dylan pointed out earlier in the conversation, the Grand Tour of the Realms is where we're going to dip into some of the other adventure modules.
Ooh, we're going to go to Avernus? That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, brain lock. Grand Tour of the Forgotten Realms is where we're going to dip into the other campaigns that we might not be doing a full campaign run for, and I can definitely seeing us doing Horde of the Dragon Queen and fighting Tiamat.
Yeah, cool. That's good because we have a little bit of time to first feature this sweet art. One of our players, Jaggernaut.
Nice.
Yeah. Calliope, Azaka, and Birdsong. There's actually quite a few. If you take out Jaggernaut's either DeviantArt or their Twitter, there's a bunch more.
They're awesome. I love the work they're doing.
Yeah, but yeah, totally check it out. We love seeing stuff like this. It makes us happy to see other people enjoying our work, and yeah. I love that Calliope's downing a pint too.
I love that Azaka's just like, ready to have an awesome fight. She's just like, all right, bring it on.
Yeah. That's a great question, Lauren. Besides your own event, what other Extra Life are you most excited for? Well, yours, obviously, because we talked at PAX West about some of the stuff that you were planning on doing, DMing and stream integration and how you were going to put that together. And I'm not going to spoil any of it because that'd be real mean, but I am excited to see how that goes, and I can't wait to talk to you about it afterwards. So yeah, that's this weekend, isn't it? It starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 3rd? 2nd.
Yeah, tomorrow's the
maybe Lauren, you could post in chat after this raffle explosion is done when exactly the D&D team's Extra Life starts, because I think it's this weekend. Yeah.
And last question, will there be a 4th adventuring campaign with a new formation eventually? Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah.
We have plans for many years in the game, so there will be another evergreen campaign.
Yeah.
Probably in the next 9 months.
Yeah. So Extra Life for Wizards of the Coast is this weekend. So
that's exciting.
Cool. I can't wait to see how that goes. So yeah.
Hey, when is our Extra Life?
Not for another couple weeks.
Yeah.
We haven't announced any of this. Like I mentioned that it was coming. We're going to do the November 16th to 17th. And we will talk more about that soon because we're going to have rewards and cool stuff for people who participate and donate things for children. So yeah, other than that, I think I will be working for most of it. So
I'll be here the whole time. It's going to be great. You're going to see me stumbling around the office on the
I do look forward to smoking everybody in a Magic draft. That'll be fun. I'm kidding. I'm all right. Anyways.
You're going to be that player that's going to make the office never want to play Magic again.
Yes, hopefully. And on that note, that is our show today for Thursday, November 1st, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us, for watching, for participating in this community. We think you guys are awesome. This show would not be possible without the work of many amazing people behind the scenes, including Erica, obviously, who co-produces this stream alongside us. Well, not quite alongside us, but on the other side of the office. As well as our partners at Dungeons & Dragons, Greg, Bart, Lynn, Pelham, Satine, more awesome humans. Extra special thanks to Chris for joining me today for a Q&A.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm not quite sure on how the schedule for today has been jumbled. I think there's a Waffle Talk at 4, but there's definitely a Trapped in the Birdcage at 5, and of course, Critical Role at 7 with Matt Mercer back from the UK. And again, if anybody who hasn't watched the one-shot that Laura Bailey hosted last week, it is awesome. But only if you like Harry Potter and the Breakfast Club. So anyways, have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and thank you for watching.
Thanks, everybody.